Hola! So this video is going to be about fasting, silence, and sleep deprivation. And these are some things that I've been using the 3 E's with recently. And the 3 E's are explore, experiment, experience. And so I've been using the 3 E's to kind of feel out these different methods for getting into what I call NOSOCs, which stands for non-ordinary state of consciousness. And so I've realized that using things like fasting, being silent, or sleep deprivation, I kind of get into a non-ordinary state of consciousness, and I feel that it's very beneficial. It helps me get a different perspective on things. It's like normally I'm looking at everything from a certain angle, and then using one of those tools allows me to look at everything from a little bit different angle. And so I'll start with the first one, fasting. Yesterday I did about a 22-hour fast, not eating any food, but I drank a little bit of juice, and it really helped me feel like I cleansed my body, allowed my cells to kind of clean themselves out, and because I've been eating a lot of kind of foods that I don't usually eat, a lot of processed stuff, and I've been trying to eat a lot more organic and raw foods. So anyway, fasting, I find a lot of benefits from fasting. I've done it probably less than 10 times doing a considerable fast, but every single time I feel like I've learned something new. And so one of the things I notice when I fast is I first realize how much we focus on food in our culture and how mindlessly we eat all the time, and we really just kind of eat to throw food in our body, and we don't really taste each bite and realize that whether we're eating an animal or a plant or whatever, we are gaining life, and that being is losing its life so that we can perpetuate our lives. And it's really this sacred process and completing of a circle that we don't usually acknowledge. And I feel like when I fast, I kind of regain that mindfulness that eating is a sacred process, and that another thing is we really are what we eat. If we eat crap all the time, then we're gonna feel like crap. At least that's my experience. And if recently I've been eating more mindfully and more healthy, organic, simple foods, and my body just feels a lot more clear and energized. And another thing from fasting, I mean, a lot of indigenous cultures use fasting during vision quests. And when I was learning from the Ojibwe Native Americans, one of the medicine men said, "How can you expect to be filled with knowledge if you never are empty?" And so fasting is a way of becoming empty so that we can learn something. And I feel like I've experienced that, just being completely empty of all food. I feel like I'm more aware of the messages that I'm getting from nature or other people, and I just feel a lot more clear and able to focus on the present moment. So I highly recommend trying a fast. I think with all these things, it's all about just finding what works for you. The way I fast is probably way different than the way other people fast, but if you use the 3 E's, then you can figure out your own way. And one more thing of fasting is we realize what it's actually like to be hungry. We rarely go more than 10 hours, I'd say, in regular day-to-day life without eating. And when you go 24 hours or even 2 days fasting, you really feel like what it's like to be hungry, and you can empathize with people who rarely get that much food and it's really a humbling experience. And the next thing is being silent, which I haven't explored too much, but my few experiences with it have been really great. And I pretty much just take a vow of silence. I did this largely on the bike trip, so my friends who I was around knew what I was doing. And it's really amazing how much you can learn from just not talking at all throughout the course of a day. And one thing that I got from it was I realized all these little mental advisors that I call them, we talk so mindlessly without really thinking before we talk so much, and we have these automatic patterns of speaking. And when I would be silent, I would observe my normal response, but I wouldn't say it, and so I would become more aware of how my behavior patterns work, and it was really a cool experience. So I do also recommend experimenting, exploring, and experiencing being silent for any period of time. And I'm sure it'd be weird in certain situations, but some people wear a little sign. And the third thing is sleep deprivation, which I've tried a few times as well. And one of my most profound experiences about 2 years ago was when I stayed awake for 41 hours and I watched the sunrise for the first time in my life. I had never actually sat down and watched the sunrise, and because I had stayed awake for so long, I was kind of in this non-ordinary state of consciousness, and I just had a really profound experience. And the other times where I've stayed awake for a long time, I really got a new perspective on how we perceive time and how we live in these cycles. And it was a really fascinating experience just staying awake for that long time. So I also recommend checking that out. I know some people start hallucinating when they stay awake for 3 days or more. So, I mean, I'd probably recommend trying maybe 2 days, or even 24 hours is pretty crazy. But it's just, there's so many amazing things to experience when we just live spontaneously and go outside our normal patterns and use the 3 E's, as I said. Those are great. So that's the word for today. Happy Monday, and have a good day. Peace. Oh, it's still going.